Welcome, horror fans, to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, episode 7. My name is Mike. I'm here with my co-host, Duff.
Hey, guys.
And today we are going to assign our end-of-the-year awards for HHN29.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
This will be great.
We've decided to call it the first annual Jack C. Schmidt Awards, a.k.a. the Schmidties.
Schmidties.
The Schmidties. Before we get to assigning Schmidties, we have any news?
No news.
No news. All right. Well, we do have a history segment, though, so let's get right to it. So, inspired by this year's house, Universal Monsters, in this week's history segment, we are going to take a look back at the classic Universal Monsters and the first time they were featured in a house at Halloween Horror Nights. While many of the classic monsters were featured in a musical review during Fright Nights, the first actual house they were featured in didn't appear until 1995, Halloween Horror Nights 5. Universal House of Horrors were one of the first 3 haunted houses that was featured during Halloween Horror Nights 5. It was located in Soundstage 23. The haunted house had 2 separate lines and 2 different houses. One side showed classic horror movie monsters, and the other side showed newer horror movie monsters like Chucky. The classic side included Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Wolfman, many of the monsters you saw in Universal Monsters. According to reports, they actually used actual movie props from the old Universal Monsters movies in the house. Due to its popularity, many of the following years featured similar houses. Mm-hmm. HHN 5 is also notable for a couple of other reasons. It was the first year to ever feature an icon, the Crypt Keeper, borrowed from the TV show Tales of the Crypt, and it was also the first time there was ever a Lagoon show at Universal or Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, the Crypt Keeper hosted a Lagoon show, and there was a giant skull that raised from the lagoon at the end.
Well, that sounds a lot better than a lot of the incarnations of a Lagoon show, air quotes. Yeah. I did, by the way.
What's your favorite, other than Universal Monsters? Can you remember your other favorite Universal Monsters house?
That's tough, because I traditionally haven't been a fan of the classic monster houses until this year. No, you know what? I don't have a favorite one.
Uh-huh.
Until this year, now, yeah. Because I really did not enjoy the classic monster houses until this year. So, well,
they're getting better for sure. All right. Well, that ends our history segment. Let's go on to the meat and potatoes of the episode. The first annual Jack C. Schmidt Awards, aka the Schmidties.
The Schmidties.
All right. We're going to try to make this an annual thing.
What do you mean try?
We're going to assign some Schmidties every year.
Well, let's see who comes away with the most Schmidties this year. If there's any, like, multiples, there will be.
There will be.
Should we kind of explain how we're going to pick the winners and how we got the nominees?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Ahead.
So for the nominees, we're kind of basing it off of personal opinion / general public opinion, kind of put everything together.
Yeah, we definitely focused on, I would say, general public on making the nominees. Mm-hmm. We tried to kind of look at what the general consensus was, and then we threw in a few favorites of ours in the nominees as well.
And we mainly threw those in because we picked them as the winner.
Yes, and then the winners, we really kind of focused on what we together liked. So if there was any disagreement, we kind of ranked them, and whichever had the highest rank between the 2 rankings ended up winning.
So anytime you see, like, anything that involves a house, and you're like, wait, those guys didn't really love that house that much, it's like, well, just by where they were ranked, and we kind of averaged it out, and found which one was higher for us.
Exactly. So if you've been listening, we have definitely disagreed on certain things, aka Stranger Things. So sometimes if Duff really hated something and I really liked something, that would probably balance out, and then something else might win instead.
Yeah, and you'll see that, I'm sure. And you'll also know who's going to win House of the Year if you've been listening. So stick around if you haven't.
You're spoiling the Schmidties.
Yeah, I don't think that spoiled anything. No surprise here.
All right, so let's get right into the first category of the Schmidties. The first category of the very first Schmidties.
This is it. This is a big one.
This is a big one.
Who's going to win the very first Schmittie?
Well, that category would be Scariest House.
Ooh.
So the nominees for Scariest House are Nightingale's Blood Pit, Graveyard Games, House of a Thousand Corpses, Yeti, Terror of the Yukon, and Us.
I like all those as options for this category.
They're all really good. They're all pretty
they're all
too.
deserving.
Yeah.
I'd say there were probably 2 or 3 that are like a level above the others. I don't know how you feel. Do you feel like kind of same level, or is there just some standout ones there?
There's definitely a couple. I would say it was pretty hard to pick this one.
I think this is probably one of the more difficult ones for me to choose.
Yeah. Should we go ahead and just open up the envelope?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right. And the winner is Graveyard Games.
Gasp. Shock. Oh.
I don't know. Some people might be startled by this one.
I think there are people who disagree. I don't think anyone's going to be like, whoa, that's a crazy choice. I think the general public, first of all, found this a terrifying house.
Right.
I think a lot of HHN fans found this a terrifying house. There are just certain scenes that you crap your pants.
I think Graveyard Games was so popular and had so much going for it that people kind of forgot just how scary the house was. The popularity was really based on just how their very first run, when people would go through it, just how scared people was. And it really built from there.
Personally, I forgot how scary that house was. And there were times where I'd hit certain scenes, like the smiling ghosts, I guess you'd call them. Like
they may come back later.
Maybe. Where I'd turn and they'd be in my face like, holy shit.
Right.
So, it's a scary house.
It is very scary.
I don't get a lot of scares anymore. And this house found a way to give me a few this year, so bravo.
Do we want to sign a runner-up? Maybe not for every single one, but
for this
one. This one's for fun.
We don't have to agree on this one. We could just say, I'd give it to Yeti.
I would give it to Yeti, too.
Oh, okay.
We actually agreed.
There
I
you
thought
go.
you were going to go Nightingale.
No, Yeti.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. So, category number 2, Scariest Zone. The nominees are Vikings Undead, Vanity Ball, and Zombieland Double Tap.
Okay. I like those. I personally think there's a very, very, very clear-cut winner, as there was only one remotely.
Yes. Now, if we looked at the general public, I think definitely there was a contingent of people who found Zombieland Double Tap pretty scary, just by the nature of zombies. You would see people definitely running.
I think it's more the interaction you get, because the zombies walk so freely compared to like Vikings Undead, or even Vanity Ball. Vanity Ball, they walked pretty freely, but there was less of them, and they were kind of more talkative, I guess you could say, than
Vanity Balls. They were much more showy.
Yeah.
But it was a very scary scare zone, in my opinion.
No, I think there was only one that you could even consider scary, and I think that's even a stretch, honestly. You want to just
let's open up.
Open it up.
I won't ruffle any paper in front of it this time. That would Vikings Undead.
Yep. I think that was a very easy choice. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. I would say it's probably the scariest one for me.
It's the only one that had any scare factor to it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think a lot of other people might feel the same way.
I definitely was creeped out at times during Vanity Ball. There were some others that Anarcade never creeped me out. Zombieland never creeped me out, but there were definitely times certain characters that creeped me out in Vanity Ball. Mostly the makeup. The makeup was amazing. Oh, we didn't do that as a nominee. That would have been a great nominee category, actually. Best makeup.
Ooh. Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a new one next year.
Next year. We're going to add some more on next year. All right. Let's keep going on. So this category is called Favorite Room of a House. So the nominees are... and some of the categories are going to have anywhere from 3 to 5. There's no really set number. It's anywhere if 3 to 5. This Starcourt Mall from Stranger Things, the Cotton Candy Room from Killer Clowns, the Candle Hallway from Graveyard Games, the Dr. Satan scene from House of a Thousand Corpses, or the Phantom of the Opera room aka the Holomeers from Universal Monsters.
Solid choices. I think this is tougher to choose than Scariest Zone, at least.
Yeah.
For me, again, I think it was, I don't want to say easy, but
I think
I kind of knew.
This is the one when we were talking about it earlier. The balance, the rankings really affected one. My number one may not have ended up winning on this one.
Well, why don't you announce who the winner is, and then we can talk about that.
All right. So the winner is Candle Hallway from Graveyard Games.
Oh, yeah.
So I love this scene. It's not my favorite, but it ended up winning because it is someone's favorite.
It is my favorite. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
I think, I've been saying it the entire time. Absolutely beautiful. The effect is well done. Great scare in there. What more can you want out of a room?
I definitely had it high up the list, and which is why it ended up winning.
And Starcourt Mall, well, I enjoyed it, and aspects of it, I wanted more. Because at the same time, as cool as it was, if you look to the right, you're just in a room.
All right. Well, in my opinion, this is not, it did not win the Schmidties, but I do think
it's worthy of a nomination. So, there's something.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next category, Best Cast in a House.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like this category.
So the nominees are Us, Nightingale's Blood Pit, House of a Thousand Corpses, Universal Monsters, and Graveyard Games.
Okay.
Great, some really competitive.
This one is tough.
This one's really tough.
Very tough. I could pick 3 or 4 of these very easily.
Yeah. If you listen to the podcast, you've heard me wax poetic about the Uscast.
Yeah.
So you know I am a fanboy about the Uscast.
However, there's something that might be holding it back.
Yeah, I mentioned that too. And then,
but could it win?
So
I don't know. Let's find out.
Let's open up the envelope. And the winner is Universal Monsters.
Yeah. Well deserved, too.
Yes. I think this one is one of those things that while all the others are great, I think this one it all kind of came together. It's a fan favorite. And I think the cast really what makes it, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people like the sets. I'm not sold on necessarily the sets, but the cast really does make this house. Every time you go through this house, they are giving it 110%. They're right up in your face. They're almost touching you. Unlike every other house, it's crazy just how much they put into this house.
The timing was superb on most walkthroughs for me. They have to deal with several effects throughout the house. That makes it tougher on them, and they pulled it off well throughout the entire event for me. So I think, again, Graveyard Games could have got the nod here, definitely.
They're a close second.
House of a Thousand Corpses cast fantastic throughout. Monsters just kind of, I think, the most consistent.
Yes.
With the great job they're doing.
I would have loved to give it to the Us house. It was just
too inconsistent.
And I don't know if that's necessarily their fault. We won't really ever find out.
But unfortunately, they have to get knocked for it.
Yeah.
Either way.
All right. Best cast in a zone or show. So for this episode one, we're going to combine the shows and zones together. So we're going to overall best cast for a zone or show. So the nominees are Vikings Undead, Academy of Villains Altered States, and Hellbilly Deluxe.
Easiest one so far?
Yeah.
I'd say.
I think this one's easy. This one's pretty easy.
Just say it. No unwrapping. Go ahead.
Academy of Villains.
Yeah.
You have to give it to them.
Do we have to describe it? The energy of that show was great. I don't know if you can compare a Scare Zone to it. Whether you enjoy the Scare Zone more than the show or not, I don't know how you don't pick that cast.
Yeah. And I think maybe in years future we'll separate these two. But right now, with only 5 Scare Zones, and it was kind of a weak year for Scare Zones.
And you can't put it against Marathon and Mayhem.
Right.
So
with only one show with a cast, you kind of had to combine them together. So AOV is going to run away with it. And maybe if there's a bunch of other shows, it'll get its own category of best cast. But right now, AOV runs away. Best Immersive House is the next category. So we have 3 nominees for this one. Depths of Fear, Yeti, and Graveyard Games. Duff, what's the what makes a house most immersive? What were you looking for on this one?
So for me, there's a couple things. I think the sets obviously play a big part, but it's not just the look; it's the overall feel.
Yes.
So we're talking temperature, we're talking sounds, and just literally the feel. There's this factor that you can't describe in that as well. Which one transports you to where you should be? I think two of these phenomenal job, possibly both top 5 ever most immersive houses.
Yeah, what I was looking for is what was the one that made me forget I was walking through a haunted house and made me feel like it was actually in location X, Y, or Z.
And then, of course, the scare actors are going to be a very big part of this, and I think that's how we differentiated the top 2 because it was super tough.
Yes,
and it went by the scare actors. So who's the winner?
The winner is, open up the envelope, Graveyard Games.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they've chalked another one up to Graveyard Games.
I don't know if they're done yet either.
So, Duff, you alluded to it. What made Graveyard Games out the winner over, say, something like Yeti?
Scare actors. I think we've talked about this multiple times. While Yeti is great, the actual Yeti costumes were a little goofy and not super realistic, and I think that little bit just took you out enough to give Graveyard Games the edge.
Yeah. Duff and I were just discussing it before we started recording. Yeti and Graveyard Games both really transported you to their locations. The main thing that kind of gave Graveyard Games the edge is that the characters were just so
real,
human, and maybe ghosts are just a little bit more scary and a little bit more
realistic than a Yeti.
Yeah, than a Yeti.
I mean, depending on who you are,
depending on what you believe and who you are. Yeah.
Even I don't like. Culturally, I just think ghosts are more of this is a thing that happens.
Right.
Whereas Yeti's more like, whatever, myth.
Yeah. And I think most people at one point in their life has at least toyed with the idea of believing in a ghost.
And, they have, and I'm sure everyone in their life has at least been scared of one at some point. Whether they want to admit it or not, there's been a time where you've heard a noise and gone, I'm here alone.
Right. Even if you know ghosts aren't real, you still start to worry about it a little bit. So I think that's what gave Graveyard Games an edge on that over Yeti. Most immersive scare zone of the year.
This one was a little tougher than the past scare zones for me. Past scare zone category, should I say. But at the same time, still not too difficult.
Yeah. Do you want to read the nominees on this one?
Yeah, sure. I'll take over. So we have Vanity Ball, Vikings Undead, and Anarcade.
All right.
Let's go to the winner and then we'll talk about it. Sure.
And the winner is, drum roll,
Vikings Undead.
Vikings Undead.
I think it's the only one that had sets that felt like they transported you in any way.
Yeah.
Other zones had cool sets and props. This is the only one that actually brought you somewhere else.
And this area really always relies on the area. It does it really well. Mm-hmm. This area will probably win most immersive a lot moving forward, just because
that for sure.
It has a lot to work with. Mm-hmm. New York could also we could see it winning there. This year just had a weaker zone for New York. Hollywood, sometimes they do those ones a little bit more like panoramic in there. But I don't know, I've seen it immersive in there as well.
But I, at least in recent years, this location has just been super immersive over and over and over again. And continues this year, and it wins.
Yeah, it sure does. All right. We're trucking. We're moving.
We're getting through this.
We're getting through, yeah. This might be our shortest episode. All right. Moving on to our next we're in the meat and potatoes now.
Here we go.
Best character male house.
Okay.
Yeah, so best character male house.
It looks like we got several choices
we have
to
some,
go from
some
here.
really
and
good ones in
tough
here.
one.
Yes, this
Very
one.
tough one.
So the nominees are Dr. Satan, House of a Thousand Corpses, Smiley Ghosts, Graveyard Games, Bungie Wolfman, Universal Monsters, and Sid from Graveyard Games.
Graveyard Games getting attention
Yeah,
again.
Graveyard Games getting 2 on this one.
Well, we brought up Smiley Ghost earlier. They scared the hell out of me and a lot of people sometimes. They did a fantastic job. They worked with each other well because that pinball scare, they aren't nearly as scary if they weren't hitting you right.
Right.
So they always did a fantastic job with that, and I was very tempted to choose them. I was also very tempted to choose Dr. Satan. I was also very tempted to choose everyone else. So
They're all really, really good. So should we go ahead and just get to the winner?
yeah, get to it.
And the winner is Sid from Graveyard Games. So go ahead and explain this one.
So I think the reason we had to go with this one, first of all, we did enjoy him. He did a great job.
He's always fun.
He was fun, scary too, to a
Puts
lot of
you
guests.
right into it immediately. It sets the tone.
Oh yeah, but also he was just such like a, I was gonna say cult favorite, but not even cult favorite. He's like mainstream favorite. Everyone loved
Right?
Sid,
Yeah.
and I mean, love him as in
Standout. He was the standout.
love him in like you can't wait to see him dead later in the house, but loved him.
There are literally like Twitter Sid cosplayers right now. There are people who would go dressed up like Sid and Nancy for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, he became like a little mini icon of the year.
He sure did.
As good as the other ones were, I don't think I could have chose someone else.
And the payoff was great. And I think that's what people like.
So he had that mixture of just being a great character along with the scare actor portraying him doing a great job as well.
Absolutely. So this category goes along with that one is Best Character Female Featured in a House.
Okay, another tough one.
Yes.
A lot of nominees that I really had a hard time deciding between.
Yes, a lot of good ones. So let's get to them. We have Red from Us, Baby from House of a Thousand Corpses, Dana Getting Possessed from Ghostbusters, and Janine from also from Ghostbusters. So let's explain this one real quick. So we kind of lumped all the Reds together because there wasn't really one standout Red that you can think of. There's all of them are really, really good. But there is definitely one standout Dana in Ghostbusters, and that's the scene where she is getting possessed.
Yep.
Right? So that's kind of why we differentiated the Danas and did not differentiate the Reds.
And that might have an impact on how this was voted. So why don't you tell us the winner, and we'll talk about that.
And the winner is Janine from Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters gets on the board here.
Ghostbusters is first win from Ghostbusters, I think, right?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, I think we were both kind of tempted to choose Red. However, just because there are three?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, it's really tough because we're trying to look at kind of like one specific character.
Right.
And when they get
one
so many
specific
opportunities throughout the house, so many different scare actors behind them, it's tough to choose them for me personally.
And I think in years future, we'll all be okay with picking, like, a character that's featured throughout a house that's played by different people. As long as it's done well. I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
But
it's possible. I just think the competition this year was too stiff for that.
Right,
You're going to be at a handicap when that happens, I think.
I think Janine had a lot going for her this year. She was on mic. She had to improv a lot. She had to deal with a lot of bullshit. I'm sure if you talk to her, I'm sure she was probably the one who had to stay in character while a lot of people tried to joke around with her.
Tried to hit her red button.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she did amazing.
Yeah, she did. I love every time the interaction, whether it was with me or people around me. I enjoyed it. There were very few times where she was just kind of playing like. There was a few lines that she always covered. Very few times that's all I heard. She was always interacting.
Yeah,
and
great improv.
In a house, you don't get that a lot.
Yeah.
So it was very nice to see. Well deserved there.
Yeah, very impressive, Janine. Yeah. All right. Best character male in a zone.
Okay.
Best
All
character,
right.
a male in a scare zone.
This one was easy for me. I don't think this would be the consensus with most people, but if you've listened to the past few episodes, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
All right, let's get to the nominees. Let's not spoil it. So the nominees are Creeper Robot from Hellbilly Deluxe, Stilt Walking Groot from Vikings Undead, and Zombie Jogger from Zombieland Double Tap.
Zombie Jogger won.
Zombie Jogger won. Yes. Drum roll.
He fantastic. Oh, loved him. I don't need to talk about him anymore. He just did his thing, and it was fantastic. Great comedic relief. Great relief for just a crappy zone. So, thank you, Zombie Jogger.
I love that this category is probably actually a category where we might have all the names messed up. We're not sure that the Creeper Robot is actually named the Creeper. We think it is. Still Walking Groot is obviously not his real name.
No.
And Zombie Jogger, I think he might be more of like a speed walker.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not actually.
He might
jogging.
actually have a name, too.
I'm sure he has a name. I'm sure his name is like Dave or something. But,
Probably. Dave, Jogger, Speedwalker, I love you.
But yeah, he's definitely not jogging. He's more speed walking. I don't know. Eventually, we might call him the Zombie Speedwalker. Or if we ever reach out to him, we'll ask him what he wants to be called.
Yes, I will.
But for now, he'll be Zombie Jogger. Because that's what we've been calling him.
I do have to say, a little surprising for how much we bashed it. Zombieland just won a Schmitty.
Yeah,
Zombieland won a Schmitty.
Zombieland got his first Schmitty.
It was not shut out. So
it was not.
Good for you, Zombieland. That's about the only good thing you've got on this show from us.
All right, let's keep going on. Best character female featured in a scare zone.
Another tough one for me here.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this might have been the one we debated about the longest.
I think we did. We talked for quite a while on this one.
Want to go for the nominees?
Yeah. So the nominees are The Living Dead Girl from Hellbilly Deluxe, Anarcade Stiltwalker from Anarcade, and Sherry Moon Zombie Dominatrix from Hellbilly Deluxe.
Now, Hellbilly Deluxe, I think deservedly gets 2 nominations here.
Yes.
I think you got to look at how popular the character is with general public, like we've done a few times prior.
Right.
So why don't you tell them who won and see the impact there?
Yeah. The winner is Anarcade Stiltwalker.
And I think purely on the popularity of everyone taking pictures.
She kind of became a makeshift icon on the internet.
Yeah.
She was the icon of the year. When you looked up HHN29, her picture, or a couple of them, because there was more than one. There was 3 or 4 in the zone at a time.
This is an example of multiple still being able to win.
But they became the icon of the year. So you kind of have to, I would say you have to give it to her.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. Again,
Yeah.
It took me a while to agree with that. But with that reasoning, there's no other choice.
Yeah. And I think with this one, there was a few that I think could have got nominations, but we didn't end up giving them. The Go-Go Dancers, I thought about putting them on there, but I felt a little too creepy. But they definitely worked really, really hard.
Yep.
But it just felt too creepy putting them on there. Who else? I put the Vanity Ball MC because every time I went in there, it was a female, and it was actually the same girl. But apparently, it was also sometimes a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we took her off. I think she may have ran away with it if Duff didn't have to explain to me that it was not always that one girl.
Yep.
Because every time I went in there, it was her.
Now, see, I don't know if it was meant to be like that, but I mean, when you say MC, it's whoever was MCing. So, yeah, gotta wipe it out. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but if I could just give it to one sole character, like employee of Universal, works at Universal, I might give it to that Vanity Ball MC who was
fair.
always there. She
That's
did
fair.
really good, and maybe one year we'll have that category.
It's possible. We'll see. I don't know if people are going to want to get outed. Some people like to show that, they post about being a scare actor. Some people completely hide it. You never know. So now we're going to change up the categories a little bit. Get into something a little different.
Yeah.
Next category, Best Cocktail.
Yeah, Best Cocktail, featured at Halloween Horror Nights 29.
probably my least favorite category this year.
Yeah, it's a little weak.
It's weak, mainly because the nominees.
Yeah. But years in the future, it might not be weak.
Yeah, exactly. There have been years where it's
stacked.
better.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like sugar water, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to the nominees then.
And the nominees are Blood Pit, Vampire's Curse, and Saturn. And the winner is Saturn.
Yeah, only one of them's good, and it was Saturn.
If you listen to the show, you kind of knew that one. Well, we had to leave off the tequila one. I don't even remember the name, but neither of us really drink tequila. I don't think we were.
Well, I normally don't like gin, and that's what's in Saturn, so...
Yeah. Oh, I love gin. So.
Yeah, I'm not a gin guy.
All right, so moving on to our next category, Best Beer.
This is a much more interesting
category. We had
category.
to put this one on here, yeah. If you've listened to the show, we're beer people. So any reason to kind of talk about beer for a little bit on this podcast, we're going to find it. So that's why this category exists.
If there was a way to sneak in soccer, we'd do that as well.
Right.
And just... Well, technically there is one, but it's not in here. Don't worry.
We could. We could put them in.
Just give them an award, just cause.
All right. So, best beer. The nominees are Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
No.
Pulp Friction from Motorworks Brewing, and Flesh and Blood IPA for Dogfish Head Brewing.
Now, I think for this one, we had different choices.
We did.
But they were both 1 and 2 reversed for us.
This one we just kind of had a Rochambeau, I think.
Yeah. So you want to tell them the winner real quick?
I just kind of gave in. I didn't really care too much. But the winner is Pulp Friction.
It is. So I had Pulp Friction 1.
Yes.
Mike had Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
The reason we went with Pulp Friction is because Motorworks is a brewing company out of Florida.
Yeah.
And we'll actually have a tap room in Orlando soon.
Yeah, they're about to have a tap room in Orlando. They're about to be very local. And then there is a tap room in Tampa that you should go check out.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
Definitely.
Bradenton, right?
Bradenton, yeah. Very great beer. But, local beer wins. Good job.
All right. Moving forward, we have Best Food Item. We love to talk about this one. Now, if you've listened to our show.
You know what I find funny? That nothing is like... Tell them the nominees first. I'll say it after.
The nominees are Pizza Fries, S'mores Fries, and Twisted Taters.
What I find funny is that we didn't pick anything that's like specific to this year. While, yes, it's S'mores' first year with us.
Right.
It's not an item specific to the year like you had the Starcourt Mall food items. We didn't even make any of those nominees.
No,
some of them were good.
Yeah, some of them were good. But
Nachos, delicious, I thought.
Okay.
I like the street corn. But these are staples.
Yeah.
Plus a updated version of a staple.
Right.
You gotta go with them.
S'mores Fries is here to stay.
I don't think they're going
anywhere. They're
anywhere.
not going anywhere.
No.
And the winner is Twisted Taters. We had to go with a classic on this one.
We did. And I think I might like pizza fries just a little bit more. But when you're looking at best food item, Twisted Taters are always there for you.
Yeah. You
got multiple options on what you want on it. The salt and vinegar, while it tears your tongue apart, is so good.
So good.
And then I can always eat it. Where pizza fries, if I've had dinner, I'm not eating pizza fries.
Right.
It's not happening.
Sometimes you just don't want to burn your fingers. You know?
But like Twisted Taters, I'm always down for some Twisted Taters.
Absolutely.
Even if I might enjoy the pizza fries better if I'm going 1 versus 1. But man, Twisted Taters, that's where it's at.
Well, I'm definitely
salt and vinegar and seasoned salt. If you really want to burn your tongue, but also get all that nice flavor. And by flavor, I mean salt.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what comes up in future years for this category.
I think Twisted Taters could take some more of these Schmidties.
It could, or they could come up with something amazing, and it could be overturned.
I think a lot of people would say s'mores fries are that item. We just don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think for me that was definitely the third choice.
And there were definitely a few that I thought about putting in here. The Voodoo Donuts were really good.
I never.
I don't know if they
one,
actually kind of counted because they weren't actually.
I wouldn't
in
count
the
it.
event.
Yeah, I wouldn't count it personally.
But next year, let's see what they come up with. I'm excited. All right, moving on to the best Stain Scream holding area.
I think this might be somewhat controversial. I don't know. It depends how you look at it.
Before we read the nominees, preface what we mean by that. What were we looking
So
at?
when we're looking at the best, we are looking at what is the most efficient.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean what's going to get you to skip the most lines, but what throughout the night might help you get through all the houses the most. I did also look at the location a bit, like how much you can enjoy the specific spot, but not as much.
Right. Well, I think some people would solely just want the best bar. I think some people just
That is a
want,
good choice.
You know, and so
And I think that's still a debatable one too.
Yeah.
Let's just say the winner real quick.
All right. So, well, we haven't even said the nominees
yeah,
yet.
do the nominees.
The nominees are, and I believe there was only 3 this year. There have been others in years past, but there's only 3 this year. So that is Finnegan's, Simpsons, and Today Cafe. And the winner is Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
The Simpsons holding area.
Oh yeah.
I think you just got everything going for it on this one.
See, I think what people would disagree with is that Finnegan's, you got a full bar.
Yes.
People love that. And then obviously you have the big houses right there. That's why I like Simpsons. First of all, sitting at Duff Gardens, if you get a shady spot,
Right.
is fantastic. You're outside, get the breeze, hopefully.
You still got beer.
Got the beer.
You don't got the full bar, but you got the
Finnegan's, I can never get a seat. And then if you just want to wait for the houses, I'm not sitting outside in a holding pen. Are you kidding me?
beer. Right.
So, I mean, it depends what experience you're looking for. But for us, Simpsons runs away with
Yeah,
it.
it runs away with it. I love how many houses you can just
You can knock
hit.
out 5 houses in the first hour to hour and a half.
Right. Without having to run around.
And for me, the 2 best houses are included in that. So, kind of a no-brainer.
I think some people really like Finnegan's because you get to crank out some of the 2 popular houses very early and then just focus on the others. I think I get that. I can see that. I know, get Stranger Things done first and then just focus on the others. I get that sentiment.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. And then also, it's a full bar. So, it's the only place that you can get whatever cocktail you want. You don't have to go with the crappy pre-made ones. If you want a whiskey sour, that's your thing.
Yeah.
You order a whiskey sour. You want a double? Make it a double. Sure. I mean, so it's a great place to drink if that's what you're looking for. We like beer more anyways.
We're more beer drinkers. So, yeah.
Duff Gardens, Moe's works just fine. Get a Dufftoberfest, call it a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, a few Dufftoberfests, then call it a day.
All right. So, moving on to show of the year. So there's only 2 this year, unless we want to get really creative. But there's only 2. The nominees are Academy of Villains Altered States and Marathon of Mayhem.
Kind of easy for both of us, I think.
I think it's easy, but I don't think it's necessarily fair. I would think this one, I wish we could give them both awards. It's kind of one of the... I kind of
We
wish...
have to... I mean, it's like we have to pit them together and choose, so we did.
Yeah.
And we did enjoy one more than the other,
Right.
but that's not to take away from the other one.
And I think if you... Yeah. I think there is definitely giant fans for Academy of Villains, Altered States.
Massive fans.
But
Yeah.
the general public, I think, may have liked Marathon of Mayhem more. And the Halloween Horror Night nerds who talk about on podcasts, I would say, in general, like Marathon of Mayhem.
I was going to say, I don't care what the general public thinks, because the winner is Marathon of Mayhem, if you couldn't tell. Marathon of Mayhem is the winner
Marathon
for me.
Mayhem.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it enough. We don't have to go into detail, but absolutely fantastic show. Academy of Villains, really enjoyed it, especially its improvement over last year. Marathon of Mayhem was just so new. I mean, it's not the first Lagoon show, but for all intents and purposes, it's the first like real Lagoon show they've had.
Right.
Like going all out, and it was great. It was absolutely great, and it was quick. It's 10 minutes about, so you could just walk by, catch it, and keep going, rather than Academy of Villains, which you're committing at least 30 minutes to, and that's if you're showing up right at the start and leaving right away.
I think also with the history of how many kind of bad Lagoon shows Universal have had in the previous years, the fact that they had a really, really, really good one definitely helped with the hype on this one. I'm not knocking it. I think it's amazing, but I do think the history... I think Academy of Villains have had some really good shows, and continue to have really good shows. So they just always put out a good product.
And the thing is, when you look at Horror Nights fans, there's always going to be a certain group with horrible negative connotations towards Academy of Villains, because it's now taken over Fear Factor's stage,
Right.
which was Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure, which, as big as Academy of Villains fandom is, Bill and Ted's blows it out the water.
And as a big of a Bill and Ted's fan I'm going to get on the record that is unfair to Academy of Villains.
It is. And I am also massive Bill and Ted fan. Like, absolutely love it. But it's not Academy of Villains' fault. Academy of Villains is not the replacement. It was a show that had a different stage.
Right.
They simply just took advantage of having that open stage now.
Right. Exactly.
That's all it is.
It's not the reason why Bill and Ted's left. If Bill and Ted's comes back, I don't think that necessarily means Academy of Villains is leaving. I think they can coexist, and they can in the same Halloween Horror Nights universe.
That's like blaming Blue Man Group for your Nickelodeon Studios demise, which I might have used to do because it used to piss me off. But it's not their fault. It's just not their fault.
It's not their fault. All right. We are down to 2 categories left. We've kind of cruised through this.
We have. We're moving.
We're moving. All right. We are on to the second to last category, which is Zone of the Year. And the nominees are, we decided to take this one down to 3, so not every single one was nominated. We kind of picked our 3 favorites here.
Sort of. Aggregate-wise.
Aggregate-wise. And the nominees are Vikings Undead, Vanity Ball, and Hellbilly Deluxe.
And this one might surprise you based on some comments you heard recently.
I feel like Hellbilly Deluxe kind of sneaked in there.
It did.
And it could have...
I feel like in the first, at least the first half of the event, we would have been like, yeah, no, that's not getting up there at all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I think it kind of if the snub of the year for me is Anarcade not getting a nomination on this one. But I can see...
Yeah.
I can see why it happened.
Personally, I wouldn't. You know that.
Yeah.
I think these 3 are fair. These are actually my top 3, so that worked out nicely. But I will say my number 1 doesn't win. Who does win, Mike?
Vanity Ball by Aggregate. Yes.
Wow, yeah. So if you heard us last episode, it dropped for both of us. Yeah. The thing is, it was number 1 for a long time for both of us.
It was.
So it did have consistency to start, and we both loved it. I don't love Anarcade.
Yeah,
Mike loves Anarcade. So that being so high changes how the rankings work so much because it's not even an option.
Right.
And he had Vikings Undead kind of low, which I had as number 1. Yeah. So it just kind of worked to Vanity Ball.
Vanity Ball
sneaking its way in.
Snuck in and got the Zone of the Year. Congratulations, guys.
It was looking like it wouldn't win a Schmidtie. Look at it here.
Next year, get off your cell phone. All right.
All right, we got to drag this out. We're going too slow. This is what we usually do. Get to the late stages and then just kind of talk a lot.
Right, absolutely. So we all know what this one is.
The big one.
The big one.
The big Schmidtie.
Yeah, the big Schmidtie. House of the Year.
Man. Okay. Not too difficult. I was going to say it was.
No, but let's go through the nominees and kind of how the nominees landed here. Mm-hmm. So, and the nominees are Universal Monsters, Yeti, Graveyard Games, Ghostbusters, and Us.
I like the choices overall. Yeah. I think that those are pretty fair nominees.
Notably, House of a Thousand Corpses, the Universal's House of the Year, notably absent on our list here. Yeah, it gets us
not so surprising, just because you didn't love it so much.
It grew on me.
It grew.
I think if I had been able to go a couple more times, it could have got into my top 6.
Really?
It was my 7. And it was at one point my 10, so it definitely was moving up there.
It moved its way up.
I definitely started to really enjoy it.
Did you have a very clear-cut favorite here, would you say?
Of all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes.
So
it's been consistent since the moment I've stepped into
It's been our number 1 top 10 every single week since week 1.
I have not had a bad run in this house.
I haven't either. So you could say it. Go ahead. Toss it
right.
out there.
And the winner of House of the Year for HHN29, HHN365. How many other ways can we say it? The Jack C. Schmidt Awards.
The Schmitty.
The Schmidties. Graveyard Games.
Ooh, yes. And by a long margin for me.
Yes. And I think it'll be a little controversial.
I don't think it will be controversial. I think there's still a lot of people who have it number one, or at least high enough up where they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, fair,
Yeah.
get it."
I think most people at least they know that there are Graveyard Game stands out there, and we are them. We are part of the Graveyard Game stand group.
I mean, for sure. I'll drive the bus. You hop on. Graveyard Games. Let's go. Honk honk.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Well, I guess we can say was.
It was fantastic.
Was a fantastic house. And I miss it dearly.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're not done talking about it. We will. We'll keep talking about it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before we talk about what we're going to do moving forward, a few things of note about our first ever Schmidties.
Okay.
I thought it'd be fun. We'll always keep count and see who does the best.
Oh, okay. So you've been tallying.
I've been tallying.
Okay.
A few interesting facts I'll point out.
Okay.
4 of 5 Scare Zones won a Schmitty.
Okay. So we spread the love. On
Which
the
one
Scare
didn't
Zone.
win a Schmitty? Do you know off the top of your head? Do you remember?
Hellbilly Deluxe.
That is correct. Hellbilly Deluxe, which we both...
It got nominated a lot.
I think it got nominated every
most,
single
yeah.
one. And
How many
never
nominations did it
won. How many? I think 5 or 6.
A lot.
Yeah. And didn't win a single time.
It was on all the major categories, right?
Yet, Zombieland, which had one nomination, won.
It did.
It's Schmitty.
Yeah.
So
I think
very weird how things work out, isn't it?
I think that means we can stop totally crapping on Zombieland.
Nah, I don't think so. It was only because of one scare actor, to be fair.
There were a few other elements in Zombieland.
I'll just try not to talk about Zombieland. How about that?
We're probably done talking about Zombieland for a while.
Another interesting fact here. Only 2 houses / food items / scare zone had multiple Schmitties.
Okay.
Off the top of your head, do you know the 2? I know you know one of them.
Yes. The other one, so you said houses / food / scare zones?
Anything that could have won. / stay in scream area. I'll just tell you, Vikings Undead.
Vikings Undead. Oh, it won 2.
It won 2.
Oh, Ben won Best Immersive.
2 Schmitties there.
And what else did it win? I've already forgot. Scariest. Scariest.
Yes, that's correct.
So yeah, I could see that. One of the categories we actually forgot to go over. I think we forgot to make it here, but I really want to assign it, and that was Best Performer.
Oh.
Yeah. We were supposed to go over.
You want to just toss it in there?
Yeah, I think let's just toss it in there.
Okay. Do you have the nominees set?
I have one. I have the winner.
Okay, just tell me the winner. Go ahead.
The winner is the Bone Breaker, the contortionist. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the winner for me.
I think it's the top one. I think the nominees, if we had not fucked it up and had made them, I think you would have probably saw Far Side in there.
So I'd like to point out now, there are three things that have multiple Schmitties.
Okay. Academy of Villains.
Academy of Villains has a second Schmitty tonight.
Yeah. So you have to give it to the Bone Breaker.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's.
And that will be a category moving forward. We just somehow, I think it got deleted from our Google Doc. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, whatever. We said it. It still counts. So Academy of Villains sneaks in there with its second too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Graveyard Games took home 5, really setting the bar high for future Schmitties.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many years we're gonna have someone who's won previously gonna win more, because it's tough. You don't see the same exact thing come back a lot. I mean, like if an IP does it, I'll say that counts. So Stranger Things comes back next year, even though it didn't win an award this year. It's awards with stack and count, I'd say.
Right.
But if Graveyard Games came back but would it be Graveyard Games, like, as a sequel? Or would it be, just like, there's a little bit of Graveyard Games detail, which wouldn't count towards Graveyard Games, in my opinion. So, I mean, Graveyard Games, as good as it is, probably just going to have 5 ever.
Yeah.
Unless they do a full-on sequel.
It could
It's
come
possible.
back.
It's possible.
It could. I am on the record that I think it will come back in some way.
Yeah, but
I think the
some way is
popularity-
not necessarily sequel. So
I think
we'll
we could
see.
probably
We'll
see a zone. I think that's probably
that'd be cool.
I think
I'd like that. And that would count.
or featured in some sort of HHN30 composite house, like best of house. I think a scene of Graveyard Games.
And maybe the candle scene could win back to back. Who knows?
I think you might see Sid back.
I would not doubt that at all.
I could see that facade area being in some sort of
Sid just showing up somewhere else for no reason, even.
yeah. But he's
Just a
technically
little
dead.
Easter egg.
Yeah,
Yeah, it could be a prequel kind of deal.
could be. Yeah.
Never know. Or it could be somewhere where he is dead.
How do you feel about the first annual Schmidty Awards?
Oh man, I love that. That was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Definitely a few surprises. Zombieland. But yeah, I mean, I was also surprised by how well we spread the love, even though Graveyard Games had 5. Other than that, I mean, everyone got a crack pretty much.
I think it's surprising about how amazing all the houses were. That Graveyard Game still kind of runs away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the love would have been spread a little bit more. It just the way the rankings work. I think we just really loved Graveyard Games.
Yeah.
It was a top favorite. It's Duff's. He's toying with
I
it
don't
as
know.
it might be his
Number
greatest
one
of all time.
Possibly, don't know yet. Sometime this offseason, we will go over our all-time
will.
top 10, top 20, 15, I don't know, our top houses of some number.
That's way down the road, though.
But that is when I will have to decide.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite ever?
We have like 12 episodes lined up before that.
Yeah, we do. Well, a few of them we might break up a little bit. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, before we get to what we have next week, a few things that we have coming throughout the off-season. We're still going to get out those drunk movie reviews.
Yeah, those are coming.
So, Killer Clowns, Mike hasn't seen.
Yeah, Killer
House of a
Clowns,
Thousand Corpses. So, we'll do some drunk reviews of those. Those will be
Those
a
are the
lot
only
of fun.
2 IPs that I...
Yeah, so for this year.
Right?
But if once we get some house announcements for next year,
Oh, those are coming.
assuming we haven't seen them, or at least one of us hasn't, I think we'll do it either way.
I think either way. I think if we have both seen them, we'll bring on someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
AKA Nico.
Yep. He
So
probably
I
hasn't.
think you will see libation casts for any movie IP for HHN30.
Or show, even if
or
it's
show.
a show. Yeah.
Or a show.
Definitely.
Maybe we will watch like a favorite episode or something.
Yeah, we could do that. Or just kind of put a couple episodes together. You never know.
It might be hard for something like Universal Monsters, but we'll see.
I mean, we'll just pick a favorite movie out of them, or one that we haven't seen.
So
something along
those are
lines.
coming. What else is coming down the line, Duff?
So we're going to have the full-on history episodes. So if you like these little history segments Mike does in the beginning, be ready, because
Yeah.
full episodes.
Yeah, we're going to try to make fun. I don't know if we're necessarily going to just pick a year and talk about it. There's amazing podcasts that already do that.
So I think we're going to try to mix it up a little bit and do more like a, whether just pick a specific icon, pick a specific house,
A theme, maybe.
a theme, yeah.
Universal Monsters. You could talk about a whole episode just about Universal Monsters being in it.
Mm-hmm. So don't expect like a Horror Nights 1 through 29 from
No,
us.
there's already, like I said, there's already an amazing podcast. If you're not listening to it, I'm sure you are. If you're listening to ours, you're listening to that podcast too.
And if you aren't, Catacombs.
Catacombs, yeah, they're the gold standard of podcasts on Halloween Horror
Oh
Nights.
yeah, for sure.
So, and they already do that. So, we're trying to not do that. What else do we have moving forward? I think I've talked about it early on, but I really do have my heart set on going through each 10 houses and just doing a deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
So an episode on each of the houses from HHN29 and just kind of going room by room.
Yeah,
Talking
definitely.
about what you liked about each room, what you didn't like about each room, the characters in each room. These are more just kind of relive the houses. We waited to do these until the event was over just because, one, I think we want to relive these houses in our minds, and
sure.
two, I think we didn't want to necessarily spoil the houses for people. But now, if you didn't get to do these houses, you can listen to this podcast and kind of try to, room by room, kind of see what it was. And Duff, you have definitely been in these houses enough that you could do this, right?
Yeah, I've done houses quite a few times this past year.
Me, I'm going to have to rely a little bit on Duff, but I've got to do each house about 5 times.
And there's POVs enough where you'll get the memory going.
And we'll have to definitely storyboard these out. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
They're going to be work, but a lot of fun. I like those episodes. I think we'll be pretty good at the weekly podcast, outside of some random things where maybe someone's on a long vacation or something like that. I mean, we enjoy doing this. It's not like I don't feel like it's a chore when I come here.
No,
so we'll be able to pump these out weekly. So expect that for sure. Maybe even some of the movie reviews or smaller things along those lines, even like a midweek episode. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I think we're going to even try to release an episode on Christmas week. We'll probably record it before, but
the HHN365 Christmas special.
Yeah, that's coming.
It's gonna happen.
So look forward to that. Released as a Christmas gift to all of you. Mm-hmm. We're gonna try to make it as fun as possible. So
I'm already excited about it.
That's coming.
We've already started working on it too.
The wheels are in motion. That one's gonna require a lot of work. It may or may not work out, but it's going to be fun.
It'll be fun either way. Yeah, for sure.
So look forward to the Christmas special.
Tell them what to look forward to next episode then.
Oh, yeah. So next episode, we tentatively have an interview lined up with a character from HHN29.
Yeah. This will be a good one.
We may have actually talked about this character.
Oh, this specific character was nominated. The scare actor, not the house they were in.
Yeah,
this
character actually. So a Schmidtie nominated this character is going to be on our podcast.
This is. I'm excited.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Yeah. So hopefully it all works out. If not, we'll have I have a few backups. But
I wonder if they'll find it an honor that they were a Schmidtie nominee.
I think we'll have to break it to this person.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
You think they'll cry?
I don't know.
Out of joy, or that they didn't win?
I'm not sure. Should we tell them on mic?
We'll tell them on mic that we might have to describe what a Schmidtie is first. Right. But that's okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's what's next week, and then moving forward, we decided to just lay it on out there what it's going to look like for the next. I don't know, probably until they start announcing.
Yeah. We're going to keep the off season
it's gonna
spooky.
Be pretty busy. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy that. I mean, it might be just as fun as. Or even more fun than just kind of going over, reviews every week of the event.
Yeah, let us know.
Kind of get to branch out.
Let us know if you like any more lists. We love lists. We can do definitely.
Oh yeah, top 10s are our jam.
Games. We love games. Yeah, we'll come up with some other games. So
I think we'll incorporate games.
Yeah,
if you want to. Christmas special?
Yeah, Christmas special. I think
Christmas special game.
Listen games.
No, we'll see.
There might be a naughty or nice list.
Yeah, it's possible.
It might be possible.
Santa might make an appearance. That's another.
Oh! Here you go.
Did I drop it? Spoiled it?
I think you spoiled it.
He's gonna give me coal.
Well, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you on the streets.